Oh. 19, 18, 17, 16. Oh, do I got to write got it, do I?
Oh, go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Kicker in the guts in 3, 2, 1. Oh, g'day, listeners. Welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer, and it's that time of the week where we get to talk sailing. But this time it's an Olympic special, our last Olympic special, but not. We're going to do another one, even better one, huge one. But anyway, let's bring in Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
BP.
Right, you're throwing me. I don't know what to say now. What was I going to say? I was going to say, last week I said that the IOC actually accepted my offer to extend the Olympics for another 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It seems that's been turned around. That's not going to happen.
It's all over.
The sailing has finished today. So I officially have not a clue what I'm going to do for the next couple of weeks while I'm sitting here doing nothing.
Well, Cows Week's on. Fastnet's coming up. Then they'll...
Well, they don't have 7. They don't have it. They don't have it on 7 Plus.
Well, speed climbing, mate. It's my new sport.
Speed climbing. Yeah. Beach volleyball.
It's insane. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boyce.
Konnichiwa, Jet. Speed climbing the corporate ladder as you are, my friend. As you are.
Speed climbing the corporate ladder.
Jordan for PM. That's who you'll be next.
Next, he'll be in the Boulder event.
They're doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Hey, not just sailing itself, because obviously that's what we're about, but the Olympics in general. Hey, I've got to say, I was dubious if it was going to go ahead. The fact it has, I'm glued to it. It is sensational, and I think we're lucky in the sense that we get to watch whatever we want whenever we want.
Yeah,
it's how it's been. The word is it's not that easy around the planet.
And the time zone works for us.
True. Hey, I've got a little issue.
Mm-hmm.
I turned on the main TV today, and the women's skateboarding came on.
Or women's or kids.
Excuse me? 12 years old.
Kids skateboarding.
12 years old wins bronze. I'm sitting across from my daughter having dinner saying that's my daughter going to the Olympics and winning bronze medal.
I was actually sitting across from my daughter and I texted her and said, you should be out there on your skateboard. What are you doing in here eating dinner?
Get out there and train, woman. You're a woman now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I like you said, Bicey, we're a sailing podcast, but sport lovers by heart, and the Olympics has definitely opened some eyes up. So those young girls, we're not going to say women because they're 12 years old. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's admit that. Unbelievable.
Oh, I didn't like skating at all. Hated it.
I didn't like the other.
Mate, I can't do a bloody tic-tac down the driveway. So to see a 12-year-old pull an ollie, hats off.
Or a reverse front kick with a bloody flip or whatever they call them. But anyway,
we're lucky. You're right, BP. We're absolutely lucky because we can, and I think this has probably made it so good for us. We can tune in to whatever sport we want here. We sport. Just stream it, and it's the first time, and so we're getting to watch everything we want to watch, and it's grand. It's grand.
It is. Like you right now watching the rock climbing.
It's a shame the Japs are going. The Japs are going to miss out. The Japanese, I always say Japs and get in trouble. The Japanese are going to miss out on, making the revenue and crowdfunding and all that sort of stuff. But it's been great. And let's be honest, the sailing has been intense.
Oh, it's been brutal.
It's been intense. And it's been fantastic.
Do you think, though, the fact we're that bit closer to it due to the footage that we see that extra element now?
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas normally you just see what the results are. But what you don't see is the 19 Finns round that bottom mark going for the finish, and 8 of them are within 4 boat lengths.
Yeah, but I think the actual footage has
unreal.
Supreme. I mean, you only got to look back to the London games where we had you remember the Irish guy do the commentary of the laser event. It was just a camera in one spot, and you couldn't really understand who was in the lead. There was no grid lines, there was no tracking, there was none of this going on, and the camera angles were really quite deceptive, and that's why the Irish guy decided to put through the commentary that he did. But with this particular coverage of it, you were actually watching it like it was properly produced. And hats off to the guys who did it, whoever they are. Well done.
Well, as we spoke about before, imagine at the next Olympics and the ones after we go, oh, remember how shitty that footage was in Japan?
How far it's come.
Look, got these new binoculars. I can really see what he's actually thinking now.
I can almost see him changing his mind.
But just one thing before we really get stuck in, for those watching, I've got my Bar Karate hoodie on.
Yes.
For those that get this, gents, we ordered 50. We've sold 60% in 36 hours since it's been less than 24 hours since I put that little thing on Facebook.
Thanks, Mum.
But what I was thinking, if we were thinking ahead. Well, actually, if we were thinking ahead by the time we announced that we were going to do hoodies and by the time we did it, which was about 12 months ago, we should have actually done with the gold on there and written on the back, like all the school uniforms, all the Olympic people that we interviewed and done the Olympic special. Bar Karate Olympic special.
Why don't we still do that?
Well, I was thinking we should just get up some special gold ones for the guests that have been on that won gold. Unfortunately, that cost us a lot because we've had a pretty successful track record.
We've covered them all.
What was it? 17 Olympians we've interviewed who took part in this Olympics.
And those that sort of haven't, we'll follow up on a few because there's a couple ones that we've been trying to get onto or waiting to get onto. I guess they've been more focused on the Olympics, but for the ones that did, and I'll be honest, I don't know about you guys, but I had quite a few messages during the Olympics from some of the guys. They're listening in and having a grand old time, and they're pretty. It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. It's good fun. Good fun.
Absolutely. It kind of gives you almost a sense of pride, actually, like that we had spoken to Mara, for example, about her journey and what she's doing and what her expectations were and where she ended up and see what she did on the last day. It gives you a level of, national pride, but also some of those others as well.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic. And to all the nations that competed, I know everyone's proud of this, Hala, so good on them. I think we need to talk about the iconic element is the Finn class, that medal race. There's a couple of things that jumped out to me. One, obviously, I reckon Giles Scott was feeling the pressure of the Poms having not lost since Ian Percy. What's that? Six Olympics now. And I'm certain he was feeling that pressure, and then he starts the medal race by being over the line.
Unbelievable. I was watching it, as it unfolded, and I was watching him, and I'm going, geez, he's advanced. He's well advanced here. He's going to have to be really careful here. And he did take a little bit of a turn back, but he just didn't come back far enough. Now, obviously, they deemed it over, and he responded very quickly along with the Argentinian. But that still put him dead motherless pretty well for the whole race.
Yeah.
By the way, Argentinian wins name of the regatta, of the fleet.
Does he?
Yeah. Facundo.
Oh, yeah, Facundo, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Battling their way around the course. Jake Lilly had a fantastic last race, who I'm sure we're going to mention in a second, how he got through the week with what happened to him. But it was an amazing race. And I actually feel for Jean Barretz. I know Jean Ball quite well from my time with the Team Hungary sailing team and all that. And he couldn't do any better. He won the race, and it was up to Giles to lose. And
how down to, like, literally meters. It was just so close.
Well, something happened that very rarely happens, and Giles overtook 3 or so boats on that dinky little reachy leg across the bottom to get into 4th by half a boat length and win the gold by whatever it was, a point or whatever. But I mean, John Boy,
a few points. Yeah.
John Boy was watching innately as they were crossing the finish line, and you could see his face when it happened. He was really bitterly upset, but then it hit him that he was the first ever Hungarian to win a sailing medal. So, congratulations to him.
And the last medal in the Finn, which is
even more special
that day.
Yep.
I must admit, even some of the commentators were saying that that everyone's a bit sad to see the Finn go.
Maybe a shout out to Joan Cardona Mendes, because he won the last medal in the Finn.
Yeah. Yes,
as in the bronze.
the second loser, isn't it? What they say.
Shame too, because he's only a young fella, and he probably would have won a gold if the class had stayed. But I guess everyone's got stories like that. So
yeah, well, that is a story like that with the 470s, isn't there too? So we'll go into that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that. You mentioned Jake, so he tore his meniscus in his knee 8 weeks out, and he's been secretly keeping his leg in a sort of inflatable cast, from what I understand.
Yep. The pain. I mean,
and sailing with a bit of a dud knee the whole time, so that's good. Good thing about Jake is there's a long way between his knee and his brain, so often the
pain reception doesn't get there.
It doesn't quite get there.
I haven't thought about it.
Speaking from experience, Jay, you got a bit of height. And by the time it gets in your head, it's got to do about 1,000 more revolutions to make it.
I was going to say the pain got to his neck, all right. Just when he couldn't find its way into his head.
What about the conditions, boys? What did we think? Like, it was predominantly a light wind regatta. Look,
I loved the idea that it was a mixed bag. It had the light, it had the heavy. It had the 20 knots. It had the tricky, shifty, but it had today and yesterday, which were generally, although lighter, but generally fairly stable. So I thought it had everything. It was a great regatta.
Bit of tide there, catching people out too at times.
Wow.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There was quite a bit of set in it.
Mm. Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know actually what my feeling towards the venue was, but obviously it was chosen for its deliverables, and it at the end of the day it delivered, right? It was they lost
Absolutely.
one day.
Yep.
And it was like you say, a mixed bag, and I think there's no real massive surprises at the top of or on the podiums. So yeah, it kind of did the right things.
Okay, so in those conditions, we got to see just how much influence pumping can make. I've got a hypothesis.
I assume we're going to the 470s now.
Oh, here we go. And Finn, probably.
And Finn. Mm-hmm.
No, all the boats.
And the windsurfer.
Let's talk. I was going to leave 470s to last. So I was just going to generally talk about. Pumping. With the pumping, I've got this wonder. I just was wondering when I was watching, as the skills of pumping go up, are they losing other skills at the same time? Like
finesse.
It's worse than a high five, I think. Should be outlawed from the game completely.
I agree.
Stop right there.
I agree. It is.
Well, I've got to say, I think I've sent you a message today. The Peter Lester, very famous man, doing a commentating, and I sent you a note today. I don't know if you saw it, but word of the day, quotation of the day. Actually, I've expanded it to. It's becoming a bit of a flapathon between España and Sweden. Flapathon.
I mean, I'm honest. I hate it. I reckon it just looks stupid. And it also takes away. I think it's taking away from some of the other skills. So jibing on shifts, or do you just jibe into pressure? Like when you're sailing asymmetric boats, VMG sailing, you just stay in front of pressure. But on some of the square running boats, you've got to sail the shifts downwind, and I was amazed at how much talk the guys and the people were doing, sailors were doing on their boats, still like pumping like crazy, but still looking up the course, calling wind shifts and doing all that. Like I was pretty impressed with how they're doing it, but I still would prefer to go back to an era where we don't pump.
Concur, PP?
Yeah,
I think so, rare occasion where you 100% agree on
Yeah.
the exact same outcome.
Which we just had a discussion before going on air about not agreeing with anything.
Yeah.
But I got to say that there was a point today where I was watching the 470s, and you could see, I think it was Spain and it might have been Sweden, going hammer and tong, the full pumpathon. What do we call it? Flapathon.
The flapathon
The
coming
flapathon.
into the top mark.
And you could see him extending. You could literally see him because Will Ryan wasn't pumping as hard, and I think that Japanese might have even been there. And you could see them extending. So it does work. Now, whether it takes away from the finesse, as we said, of it all, I think when you're trying to get into that position where you're dictating the positions to other boats, then maybe that's where it pays, I suppose.
So the question then becomes: Do you build sails? Do sail makers build their sails differently because of pumping?
For a flapathon.
Like if you know it's going to be the pumping flags out there, do you have a different set of sails based around that?
Different patterns, maybe.
Stuffed if I know.
Yeah, it's just I wonder if that discussion's happened. Like it's the same with the mast. So in the boats that you can build different things, particularly in the 470, it would definitely, because that's a boat you can put a different mast on and different sails, and they pump up wind like nobody's business. I wonder, is that possible? Is that part of the consideration?
You'd like to think no stone has been unturned, but maybe this stone has remained under the surface. Who knows?
I'll be interested. Interested. Well, okay, something I was really interested in. Let's talk 49ers. The unbeatable New Zealand team was beaten in a very tough event. Right down.
Super entertaining.
So the Great British team, Dylan Fletcher and Stuart Bithell, taking the gold. Very, very chuffed to do that, and a very, I think Pete and Blair showed great class. I think there would have been an immense amount of pressure on them. They're probably the two of the biggest sporting names in New Zealand these days. They're a bit like
their value is extremely high, without a doubt, and the expectation. Well, it's a bit of a what do they say? A cliche. The expectations of a nation were on them.
Yep.
Not to mention their program in the since Rio has been intense.
Yeah, they've done a few things.
Not as in a dwarf on a campsite, a little intense. It has been totally intense, but they have gone from the last Olympics pretty much straight into the Volvo world, rolling. Cup. Is that right? Yeah, Cup. Volvo back into a Cup, then the Olympics. Not to mention the Cup was only a few months ago.
Not bad.
And remembering back in 2012, was it, when Xabi and Iker from the Spanish team were basically
trying to do both?
They had the best program going to win the Volvo Ocean Race. They diverted a lot of attention to the 49er campaign for the Olympics, and it was almost you could see the whole thing crumbling
From both sides.
So hats off to manage both, and they've obviously been managed very well. And let's not take anything away from these blokes. They've won the America's Cup. They equal first, not forgetting, in the 49ers, and walked away with the silver.
Yeah. Yep. And you got to say that Germany, the party peepers. They stuck themselves between Peter and Dylan.
Yeah.
And might I add, lost first place by half a bow spread. So it was super close. And
by all means, yeah. Again, just to be clear though, taking nothing away from the Poms.
No,
they've put a fantastic campaign together. Not just here, but their whole Olympic team, for that matter.
True, yeah. But that last downwind leg from the British, and with Germany right on their hammer, and New Zealand sort of getting a little bit of separation. Geez, it was close, and it could have gone either way. But Germany definitely, the party peepers for sure. They stopped it.
Tie for third and
Not
fourth
mention the war. What? Sorry.
Tie for the third and fourth as well.
And England beat Germany, first time since 1966. Hey, stop. They beat them the other night in the UEFA Cup.
So anyway, congratulations to the Pommy team. So Dylan and Stuart, congratulations. Congratulations to all the sailors, actually. It was an amazing event. We do have to also congratulate very good friends of the show, our Brazilian friends in the 49er FX, so Martin and Kahina.
Yes.
Now, didn't we say last week that we were kind of like bemused as to the start of their regatta, and pulled out a 15th in the first race, and then and looked unsettled and nervous and all sorts of stuff. But geez, they came good.
Martin matching Dad, 2 gold.
Well, I think you said last week as well. Is it Dad that's speaking to her, or speaking to the son? Maybe it's the dad. Well, maybe it's the mum speaking to her.
No, it's
saying,
back to Dad.
You've got to match him.
Back to Dad doing the dishes, I'm afraid.
So that was a great event, and it was very classy, very, very intense. Like the intense racing right across the fleet there, and particularly for the medals there, the pressure on. But the Germans into second and Netherlands into third. The Spanish just dropping out. So our good friends Tamara, I've talked to Tamara about coming on the show. I think she's a bit scared. The language stuff. She's pretty good with the English, but she's just a bit scared.
Scared of understanding the Bazza Aussies.
The French and the Spanish seem to be a bit nervous. We chat to them a lot, and they sort of say then no. So, but no problems at all. But I think that was pretty good. I reckon that we were pretty happy.
Great.
Outright.
Great regatta.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have been happy with any of the teams that won, to tell the honest truth. Do we want to talk about the lasers or the RSXs? We've already done that, so I think we can leave those alone. Fair enough?
Well,
yep, that's fair.
Yeah, we talked about lasers last. Obviously, he'd won it when we spoke to Tom last week. Nothing really more to add. He won it.
Nothing more to add. I do want to raise a point as we're going through this list, though. The best team at the Olympics, clearly the Poms.
Yeah. Outstanding effort.
Outstanding. The
That's
second
the word, isn't
team, depends how you measure performances, but I would suggest the Aussies would, if you base it on gold first, Aussies in second, but the Poms were just outstanding. 3 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. That's a phenomenal result.
I think the most impressive team for me was the Spanish.
Yep. Okay. Tell us about that.
Well, I just think that their next Olympics is going to be something to watch. Of the boats, of the classes that are still in, they were all very competitive.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen, obviously, with the 470s and how they're going to split those crews up. Obviously, it'll be probably the Spanish guy from today. Yeah.
I want to come back to that.
Okay, we won't go into it then now. We'll come back to it when you roll us into it, because that's how we roll here.
Didn't you read the run sheet?
Oh, hang on a second. I'll just get it up. Oh, yeah, righto. Yeah.
No,
you're right. The Spanish have had a phenomenal result overall as well.
I mean, you look at the Spanish NACRA team, and they were always there doing a great job as well. So that's my 2 bobs worth.
Yeah. But I do think the English. I think in London they were the standout team. I'm trying to test my memory now, but they've been the standout team for a while now.
Off the top of your head.
Hey?
Off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head. I wonder, since the Poms brought in that lotto funding, how they fund all their athletes out of the lotto money.
Yeah.
It's been so good. So, there's got to be something said to the funding element. The fact that Japan's so high on the medal table and they've got so many athletes funded for this Olympics, it definitely makes a difference, the opportunities. I wonder how much COVID impacted some of these results and threw variations into the results.
Yeah, I've got a comment on that, if you don't mind.
I reckon it comes in on to the next, to the NACRA 17s.
Oh, damn. Oh, that's on the run sheet. Yeah, righto.
No, you haven't got a run sheet.
Oh, haven't I?
Go on.
Oh, that was that one I said through.
Nacras. Now I do have a. Oh, there it is. Yeah, just hold it up again, mate. Point 4. Nacras. Nacras. I do think that there was that shone a little bit yesterday in the medal race for Jason and Lisa.
Yeah.
I thought that they had, they sailed a consistent regatta, but I think yesterday they lacked probably that the time on the water against those guys, because the Danish and the Italians were super quick in every single race. That's just it. The Germans were a little bit hot and cold, but that just I just thought that they sailed very well, but I figure that was a player.
So the Danish and the Italians were super hot in every race. So the Italians winning and the Danes coming fourth. What about the Brits and the Germans?
Yeah, them. That's what I mean.
I mean, yeah. Again, taking nothing away from the Brits here.
Yep.
Consistent as well. I mean, discarding a 10th.
Yep.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. I was, when I was watching, I thought the Italian team's boat handling was just a fraction better than everyone else for the little bits that I saw. Like looked like they were very, very good. I thought Jason and Lise maybe were just a fraction down on speed. I had that conversation. Fritz and I were talking, great Robbie Jewson, fan of the show. He had the same discussion. We were talking about that. We were wondering if they were down, and because they didn't get to travel and do some of the regattas, that may have cost them, which is what you're saying, BP.
I just think that in that fleet and with those boats, I think that there's so many little intricacies that we will probably never know about, that maybe got picked up on by sailing against other world-class people, and I think it definitely hindered in some way, shape or form. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know.
I got a text during the medal race from my brother. I've got two brothers, my youngest brother.
The good-looking one or the smart one?
Yeah. I'm both
where do you sit in that equation?
On both of them.
You're all three brothers. So you talk to yourself.
Anyway, he sent a text saying he was watching the 17s, and he's just going, now that's what I'm talking about. I want one of those.
Oh.
And I'm just going, okay, I haven't seen you on a boat in 30 years.
Must have been the good-looking one.
Because then the smart one rang
and
said, "What the
Get me
hell's
a
going on
fin."
with these boats?"
That's plenty of better ones, boss. Well done.
Very funny.
Yeah, no, I just said, yeah, good luck with that. So he's gone back. I said to him, just Google Nacras 17 crashes and see what you come up with. And then anyway, it was good regatta, and I was particularly impressed with the Italians.
Yes,
and
no
all the
question.
teams, obviously, but the Italians looked class. They looked unbeatable from day one almost, I thought. But all right. So 470s. 470 women. Let's go into the 470 women. Hannah Mills.
Hannah Mills, of course. There she is.
Hannah Mills has, I think, just become the high or best performing female sailor an Olympic sailor of all time.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yep.
It is. So the Poms have produced Ainsley, who would probably, I think, holds that title for the men. And now Hannah Mills, not to discount Elodie and her performance on the boat. But Hannah has now 2 gold and a silver, which is quite incredible.
She's certainly getting one of those royal post boxes painted gold in the front of her house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If not, she has already.
Yes.
But well, deservedly so. She was the flag bearer for Team UK, and she's finished it off with the gold. So,
superb.
Bravo.
Bravo indeed. And I mean, at the start of the regatta, for a fair part of the regatta, it looked like it was the Poles.
Correct.
We're going to do all things to everything, but they in the end won silver with a countback with the French team. But it was really, really good to watch the performance of Mills and McIntyre with that win, which will then open up the discussion we'll have shortly, which BP is desperate to talk about. But let's actually mention the 470 men before we bring that in.
Oh, no, I thought the way you said Mills and McIntyre, you were going to slide into who came second to do their last name.
No, I thought you were going to start talking about the next novel you're writing. It's kind of like Mills and Boone. The memoirs of Jordan.
Yeah. After doing this podcast with you two idiots, it'd be lovely to do something by myself.
And just remember how good it was.
So it is an iconic, particularly for all us Australians. It is. We know these guys pretty well, and they're very easy blokes to like, is probably one of the things. But a massive congratulations to Belcher and Ryan. Winning without really having to sail effectively their gold. And Matt, now Belcher, would be the best performed Australian sailing Olympian of all time with 2 gold and 1 silver, knocking out Patey, who's just got 2 gold.
Yep.
Well, there's one person that does overtake him, though.
Who's that?
I think you've forgotten to mention. And that is Victor, the medal maker, Kavalenko.
This was a comment of discussion that I had today with one Mark Roberts.
7 gold, 1 silver, 3 bronze.
Here we go.
Pretty impressive.
It is.
Yeah.
7 gold.
Okay, so especially when you look at some of those chumps he's bought through to gold medals.
Matt Belcher,
actually,
Will Ryan.
He's a smart fucker. He's smart, isn't he?
Oh, look, he is an absolute legend. And for those who don't know, Victor Kovalenko is the coach of obviously the 470s. He exploded onto the scene, but what he does with those guys and girls, for that matter, is amazing.
Just before we continue on, congratulations. Fantastic regatta again through everyone, but particularly I thought the Swedish team sailed brilliantly. So did the Spanish team. They were fantastic. It was really good watching what we got to see. We didn't get to see every race, but it was fantastic watching, and they battled. And it was quite, there was a scene from the medal race today where it had Matt and Will in first. They were lined all on port tack heading out to sea. Matt was in second. The Swedes were in first. The Swedes were in second. The Spanish were in third, and the New Zealanders were in fourth. And I think the Poms were in fifth. But certainly all 4, the front 4 were in the line. It looked like a victory march. It really did. It was cool. So
I thought it was great.
One thing not to forget is Enoshima was also the location of Australia's first gold medal in sailing in Olympic history.
Very true.
From 1964.
Who we've had
in the 5.5 metre Baron Joey.
I was just going to say,
we've had on the show as well. Did we include him in that?
So
Sarge.
Bill Northam. Exactly.
With Sarge.
Yep.
We've had him on the show too.
And he was in the 56 Olympics, wasn't he? So Rolly must have. But no, you're right. You're right. I'm just trying to remember back. Anyway,
remember back that far.
Yeah, just off the top of my head.
1956. Where was I that day?
Actually, it's clearer than day.
I remember waking up and hearing it on the wireless.
You idiots.
Tuning it in the static.
So the obvious question, so we know we're losing the Finn, but we also know the 470 is going to a mixed class. This is what you want to get to, BP. And I think this is a really interesting discussion.
Well, it's the end of an era in so many ways.
But how the combination's going to work? This is the one that I really don't understand. And we might actually have this conversation with our special guest on Sunday.
No, I think we will.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be a good one. But what do you guys think? Should we throw some ideas out?
Well, looking at this fleet, sorry, Bicey.
I think
just looking at this fleet. I mean, let's just take Australia out of it for the moment. Looking at this fleet, so Anton Dahlberg, Jordi Chiamar, how you've explained that. They're very young. They've got a lot of sailing in them still in this particular class if they're going to stay in. So you'd think that they would take on the helming rights with the experience they've got. You know, depending on weight ratios and what they're thinking about there, they'll definitely be on the boat if they're going to stay in 470s. How do you select? How do you go down that path? I don't know. I guess it's
okay. Well, we know Will Ryan was probably struggling to keep. It's been tough for him to stay so lean. for 2 Olympiads. And, because I think he's my height and he's running 70 kilos, right?
He does.
Which is insane.
Does
and the first thing I'm going to say is if you were going to be assembling a team, maybe I'm just wondering whether you grab Chris Grub from the British 470 team and Hannah Mills from the women's team. That'd be an unbeatable combination, wouldn't it?
Be pretty solid.
Pretty solid. I guess, I don't know, like, would you go, I guess the question I'm asking, are you going to go a female skipper and a male crew?
So what's the ultimate weight? You need be about 28 kilos as helmsman.
and 27 kilos as crew, but 7'2" long.
Sailing
pretty light. So what's her?
It's kind of low 60s as a helmsman, and 70 odd 70s. For a
30, 132, 135. I think
So it kind of puts itself in that female helm, male crew. But I mean, the combinations can change for sure.
Well, I mean, it was talked about today, and you could see it. It was being as tall as Will is, definitely provides element of riding moment. And
it is ridiculously light. Yeah. I've done 60 kilo poos.
I've actually been at his house when he did one. Actually,
7'2" tall, 60 kilo.
I just think it's too light.
Jesus, I really got to bite my tongue right now.
I don't know.
Hey, I've got a subject put in the medal race.
Mm-hmm.
Do we like it? Double points, 2 laps. Is it the right thing?
I don't like it because sailing is about consistency. Consistency. Yeah. That's what you coach. That's what you got to try and do. And then suddenly to try and actually make it come down to one race where then
we become third. You've effectively come 6th in a normal regatta.
But also, we've seen the effect that the weather has on the results. You can just go through the score sheets and see when the wind changed, the results changed. So really, then it becomes a lottery. So the whole purpose of sailing over a week was to have all weather conditions and the best all-round sailor wins. That's the whole concept.
That kind of exists though already, right? So, okay, do it the other way.
But not
have 12 races and 2 discards.
Yeah.
What's fairer?
Yeah. The notion is though that then when you weight your riskings for how much risk you take in the regatta, because you've got a medal race coming, you have to actually put more emphasis on the win earlier on in the week. So like what Matt Wern did and Belcher and Will, where they went into the medal race and basically had
unsailables. Yeah,
sure. So that's how you have to sort of do it. But you have to sort of do that strategy around that. But at least it's in the Olympics. It does sort of discount away from what sailing is, but it's still great to watch.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But also,
I'd love to know what some of the other networks would have done. I mean, Channel 7, knowing it's a gold medal race, knowing it's won, it was on the mainstream, let's call it.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was the chance of winning a gold medal, whether it would be part of the mainstream.
Don't know. But I feel like that it also gives the TV channels an excuse not to cross over to sailing for the rest of the time. That being said, like my house is a ratings house where, as I've said in the past, so, I can assure you we were streaming and it measures streams. We were streaming that sailing, every second of sailing was being streamed. So,
well, I think you've already answered your own question though, that the medal races where we'd won gold in the Australian streaming services got airtime. None of the other medal races got airtime on the actual Channel 7 one. It was all done through the sailing one.
Yeah, because we were going to win gold.
Hey, Jordan, did we mention Anna-Marie Rindom?
Yeah, in the previous week, Anna-Marie Rindom. Yeah.
Yeah, but she'd only just been. We hadn't mentioned that she'd won.
No, it was before the medal race, right?
Yeah,
we could
been. She had all that shit fight.
Great point. Then BP, that was insane.
Jordan, you didn't get the run sheet.
It's plain in black and white in front of you. I sent it to you this morning.
Let's just focus in on the great job. That was intense.
We have a very relieved young Danish.
Yeah.
Arigatō by the name
I will say that Marie risked all the biscuits, a lot like Jason and Lisa did in the NACRA, risked all the biscuits to get the win, to move up, and it didn't pan out. And they ended up, it wasn't a convincing win in the medal race because Anne-Marie was seventh, I think.
Seventh.
Yeah.
And Olsen came in for first. So, I mean, she did everything possible to get into that goal position. But I tell you what, I watched the ceremony and you could see the world just slowly lifting off her shoulders. And young Olsen, she was the opposite. So, but hey, another cracking event, the laser radials.
And the other one, the other point to note that, gentlemen, is that, of course, when we were talking to Matty Wern, that his fiancée, Emma, the Belgian laser radial sailor, didn't have to unpack the dishwasher because she was world champion and he was only runner-up.
Yeah.
Matty and I had a conversation about how he never has to unpack a dishwasher again because he's the gold medalist and Emma got fourth. So
contracts in the mail, Matt.
Yeah.
Marit Baumeister, of course, getting for third in a solid effort. So she, she's performed as well as per usual.
Cool. Good stuff. Great regatta. So happy to have been able to watch it. It's going to be hard not to be watching sailing. I'm devastated but I'm so glad that we were able to watch so much sailing and just dinghy sailing. I mean, that's where my heart lies. I love the dinghy stuff. That's what
we did. I think we touched on this last week as well. How cool it's been watching the America's Cup. How cool it's been watching, all these sail GP and all that sort of stuff. But seeing 40 lasers come around the top mark at the same time has been fun.
And the opportunities all these sailors are getting these days, like it's just the sport. I hope it lasts. I hope Sail GP lasts. I hope it all just keeps growing and growing. I hope the COVID goes away so we can go back to the old ways and just have as much fun. But it's good to see. And if you're even slightly enthused by it, go down to your local yacht club. If you've never sailed in your life and you're listening to this show, go down to your local yacht club and
you want to be like Matt Wern.
Just ask to go. They're set up to help people start sailing. And have all sorts of people. And before you head down, go on to the Barkarati website, so barkarati.com, and order your Barkarati.
Buy yourself a hoodie.
Might even be some T-shirts on there in a week or two. Have a beer and enjoy the scene because it is cool.
I was going to say when the show started that I believe we're putting this on YouTube. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
I was going to say that you had something new there, and I was looking at the microphone stand, and then I saw your jumper. So you got a nice new microphone stand as well.
Yeah, no, I'm fully fledged podcaster now. Yeah, got the right thing. It's works pretty well. Yeah.
What do those angly things do?
No, it's basically this is shock cord.
Oh yeah.
So when I give it a real big boom, the mic doesn't shake.
Oh,
well, it can shake without any sort of reverb. I haven't got my pop screen yet.
Oh, you're going to get that?
That's in the mail.
Well, I'm looking forward to see the green screen in the background as well then.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
All right, lads, I think we've waffled on enough. Fantastic guest coming up this week. For
those who are going to listen to this or that are listening to this right now,
tell your friends.
Tune in as of Sunday night, Monday morning, because if there was one iconic yachtsman in the last 50 years, this bloke is at the top of the list.
Yeah, probably the biggest name in sailing in Australia, that's for sure.
Oh, if not
for the general public.
Here.
Yep. All right. BP, get your guitar, start warming up your vocal cords, and see you in a few days then.
Hey,
Where do you want me to start
hang on,
today?
just let me get my tambourine.
Oh, okay.
Grab your
All right.
triangle. Grab your triangle, Jay.
Clear.
I'm lead cowbell, mate.
Cowbell.
Well, it's all right now, 'cause I made it right. I gonna live my time, I gonna live it my way.